Okay, a quick fact check. Do you know which is the world's most successful product ever sold? Right. Obviously, it's an Apple video, so you must know that it's an Apple product. And obviously, the answer is the iPhone. Since 2007, since the iPhone launched, the last 13 years, over 2 billion products of the units of the iPhone has been sold. Now, by the way, if you haven't watched the 2007 presentation of Steve Jobs on YouTube, guys, go right now, or rather after this video, go on YouTube, watch this. Watch the 2007 Steve Jobs presentation on the launch of the iPhone. It has been dissected, studied, analyzed by everybody in the world because Steve Jobs is a master salesman. Coming back, so iPhone is the most successful product in the history of the world. Apple has reached $1.5 trillion market cap, the only and the first company to reach it. Now, how is Apple always being ahead of the game since so long, right? All of us know what Apple is. Literally, there is nobody who would not have heard about Apple. And how did they achieve this? There are three primary reasons of what we are going to talk about, the unknown facts of Apple. And for this video, I'd really like to mention Rashesh, who's one of our best students who always helps with this research. In fact, he's done all of this research. Really good stuff. So I'm going to explain hopefully what he's done to you guys in a way that blows your mind away. So the first point is, Apple is not in competition with what you are thinking. So whether you think Microsoft or Samsung or Google, Apple is not competing with them. Right? We've always learned that competition is good. Right? If you've studied economics, you always heard competition is good. Competition is good. But for whom? Competition is always good for the customer. But if you are the one who's playing the game, if you are the company, you don't want competition. You want annihilation of competitors and you want to dominate that space. Or at least that's what these big people want. You think Amazon is trying to compete? Or you think Coca-Cola is trying to compete? They want no competitors, right? But obviously they cannot have a monopoly as per law, so they have to let competition come in, and Apple is no different. The only thing is, Apple is not looking around to figure out what competition is. Apple, as per Steve Jobs' time, has said, you know what? We are going to ensure that we give customers something that they don't even know they want. A quick small story. Henry Ford, right, is the one who basically got the cars to the mass market, right? He's the one who obviously started the Ford company, the car company. And in his time, Henry Ford was the most powerful man. It's like Jeff Bezos of today, right? He was the richest man in the world in his time. And before cars, there used to be horse carriages. He has a very famous quote that says that if I would have asked the customers what they wanted, they would have told me we want a faster horse carriage. So a lot of people believe that customers take their feedback, but what you give them should be something that they don't even know they want, right? So that's what Apple's philosophy has always been. So if you understand, right, when it created the iPod, it revolutionized the music industry through iPod and iTunes. The world was not asking for that. They were happy downloading music on torrents and through these different websites. Apple changed it. Right? Now they have the iPhone, which killed iPod. Can you imagine? iPod was one of the best-selling products at that time. They brought in the iPhone and it killed their own bestseller. Same way, the way they have the laptops, right? The MacBook. Apple wants to overtake the MacBook with its own product, which is the iPad. They're trying to ensure that all of us who could have bought a MacBook will now buy the iPad. Same way, if some of you all know, the Apple iPhone sales are sort of stagnating, right? Samsung is overtaking them and the whole world is like, Apple's going down, Apple's going down. Guys, understand, Apple knows this. It's a conscious decision taken years ago. Apple said, okay, what we want to do is, we want to replace the phone with the iWatch, with the AirPods, and whatever hell they have in their mind, right? There's a chance that, Rashesh read somewhere that the spectacles, right, which Google has tried bringing, which is going to be the next big thing, the next smart tech, wear technology. Apple will do that, and it will change the use of the phone, for example. So Apple's one philosophy is it doesn't compete with what others are doing. It is going to cannibalize its own products because they know that, look, anyone who's going to buy my old product is now they're going to buy my new product, and my new product is going to be ahead of the rest of the competition. So Apple users, customers will always have the latest technology created by Apple, not worrying about my other products because the new product is going to be so much more successful. That's the way Apple always thinks, right? It kills its own competition by not only killing the rest of the players, but by turning its own products obsolete. That is one of those unknown facts about Apple. That is why when it removed the normal headphones the socket from the iPhone, the whole world got irritated. Apple didn't care, right? From its MacBook, they removed the CD-ROM. If any of you all have the MacBook, they don't have the CD-ROM and stuff like that. Apple just doesn't care. They know that, look, whatever we're going to produce, it's going to be the best, it's going to be the most advanced technology, it's going to be the most convenient, and people will realize that this is better than whatever they had in the past. And they believe that, and they're continuing to do that. Second unknown fact about Apple is that while we would have thought that the iPhone and the iPad and the Mac and AirPods are the reason that they make the most amount of revenue, Apple does not. Apple makes its major revenue from services. By services, I mean, okay guys, it's a long time back that we might not even remember, but the App Store or the Google Play Store, whatever you all use, right, it did not exist in the past. You remember Nokia? The Nokia phones basically had the normal calling and messaging feature, and then a little bit of, whatever, I don't remember much. It used to have games, I remember. The BlackBerry game, and it had email and BBM. But the concept of applications and having an entire world in your phone was designed by Apple. So, till date, if you want to have your own app on the App Store, Apple takes 30% of your of the revenue. So on all the apps on the App Store, Apple keeps taking 30%. That is the number one way how it's making its revenue from services, the App Store. Second, I had gone to the States recently. I have a friend, Arnav. Wherever he would go, he would remove this, how we have debit and credit cards, he would remove the Apple card. And guys, Apple card, just by the look of it, right, they have, I don't know how, they've kept minimum, I don't know how to even describe it, but it is one of the most aesthetically beautiful debit, credit, whatever the hell the card is. They've made it so aesthetic. They keep it minimalistic, they keep it clean. It's gorgeous, right? Just like any of the other Apple products. Look, you might not be an Apple fan, but most people agree that the way the Apple products are built are beautiful, right? Again, Steve Jobs' philosophy, aesthetics matter. You might have the best product, but if you don't also package it well, people will not buy it. So, Apple Card, right? Essentially, Apple also went into financial services by having a credit card. It would ensure that people would make frequent transactions through the Apple company, which in turn would give Apple more and more revenue. Plus, it would get data about users, plus it would get people to like Apple more. And financial services is something which all the giant companies are fighting for. Google, which has Google Pay, Amazon with Amazon Pay, Apple with Apple Pay. Jio is doing it, if any of you are aware. So, financial transactions is one of those things because each user has multiple frequent usages of the financial transactions per day. Unlike App Store or unlike buying an iPhone, which happens once in a while, transacting is something which is extremely frequent, right? So that is another service which Apple is trying to dominate. In fact, the Apple Pay, which happens to the Apple Card, is growing 4 times faster than PayPal. And if most of you should know, PayPal is one of the biggest financial services company in the world. Similarly with Apple TV, just like Netflix, just like Amazon Prime, Apple is getting into Apple TV, which will have shows, which will have a news channel, so that people who like Apple and will start liking Apple's shows will start shifting from Netflix to this. Guys, you might think, no, not possible, Netflix, Prime can't beat it. Apple has always been okay with entering the world late, but they do whatever they do. The products are so powerful. Same thing with the iPhone, guys. BlackBerry was there, Nokia was there, Samsung was there. The best companies were there. People told Steve Jobs, don't enter the smartphone world. It is cutthroat. Steve Jobs said, you know what he said? He said, I'm going to invent a phone that is so sexy. People will want to lick the buttons of this. Right? I've heard Grant Cardone speak about this, and I asked so many people who have an iPhone with the button at least, did you do this? And most of them by default said yes. Apple has a way of entering the market which you thought is impenetrable, and it does it. So that is the way it makes majority of its revenue through services, not the product. At least it's shifting towards services away from the products which it originally did. That is fact number 2. And fact number 3, guys. Now, up till now, Apple has always been a premium product for the premium segment. But now, as you all know, right, with the SE and I think SE2 probably has also come out, they are going towards the second segment, the tier 2 segment, but the more mass-oriented segment. Why is Apple doing this? Why is it going from its positioning as a premium, only few can afford kind of a product with high revenue and high margins? Why is it doing here? Logically think, if it wants to go from making money or by selling its products, it's shifting towards services, they need more people to use their services. Common sense, right? Earlier, Apple would only have its App Store. You can use Apple's App Store if you have an Apple phone or an iPad. Similarly, you can only use Apple Pay, which is the financial transaction company, if you have an Apple card or something to do with some Apple product. What happens to the majority of the world does not have Apple products? Now, Apple wants to start making money through those people. So, the first step is it needs to get its phone, the hardware, into the masses' hands. And then all the services, the App Store, Apple Pay, maybe even Apple TV and whatever else they come out with, people can access it because now they all own an iPhone, but maybe a cheaper version. Apple does not want, like Android, to start having other companies, to have its App Store or its apps on other phones. Apple has it always wanted to manage its own ecosystem. And that's why if you're an Apple user, you know that somehow your app, your iPhone, your MacBook, your iPad, whatever you have, right, it all gets interconnected and it becomes an ecosystem. And then you're so comfortable that it's difficult for you to break out of it. And in that ecosystem, they know everything about you, from your data, about your spendings, about your shopping, about all kinds of data, what you like watching, what you like browsing, what you end up buying, everything. So that's the reason why Apple is now having its tier 2 segment of products while trying to bring majority of its services to these guys, and that's how they're going to continue dominating the market. With the advancement of Apple in technologies like artificial intelligence and machine learning, neural network, deep learning, Apple is so used to making things convenient for us that we don't even realize when we're getting hooked and addicted to certain products. And the same thing Google and all the other companies are doing. It's nothing new, just Apple as of today seems to be ahead, at least with respect to sales and the market cap. So I hope you guys really learned something from this video besides the normal things that we already knew. It's more about how Apple became what it is, why it's this big, and is there something different that y'all hopefully picked up from this. So with this, thank you so much. Please do subscribe. We try to add a lot of case studies and also a lot of technical topics on different courses you can pursue. So whether the case studies or these technical concepts can help you guys make a career decision, and for anything else, please let us know. Thank you.